All right, here we go. Question 22 from our Precalculus homework number 11 in MyLab Math. We have another word problem. It says use the fact that the orbit of a planet about the sun is an ellipse with the sun at one focus. The aphelion of a planet is its greatest distance from the sun, and the perihelion is its shortest distance. The mean distance of a planet from the sun is the length of the semi-major axis of the elliptical orbit. It says, see the illustration over here to the side. If the aphelion of a planet is 89.5 million miles, what is the perihelion? And then they want us to write an equation of the orbit of planet A around the sun. So if we scroll down, we're going to see first that it wants the perihelion value, and then we're going to have to write the equation. So then the first thing I probably should do is recopy this picture over into my scratch work and note the distances that they mention. So now that we have that information copied over here in our scratch work, I think we should designate some of the information on our picture. They said that the sun is at one of the foci, so I'm going to label him focus 1, which would mean over here there would be another focus, focus 2. The aphelion is 89.5 million miles, and the mean distance is 88 million miles. Let's go ahead and find the answer to the first question. The first question said, what is the length of the perihelion, which is this distance here? So that would represent the distance from the sun to the edge of our ellipse, which would be the length of the major axis minus the aphelion. So if the mean distance is 88, then the length of the major axis would be 88 times 2, which is 176. And we need to subtract from that the aphelion, which is 89.5, and that will give us the length of the perihelion, which works out to be 86.5. And remember, this is measured in millions of miles. So let's go to our MyLab Math and see if we're right. All right, here we go. 86.5 millions of miles. Now, let's gather information. We notice that the mean distance given in this picture represents half of the length of the major axis, and the piece of information we can get from that is the value of A. Remember, the length of the major axis is 2A, so half of that would be 1A, or just A, and we automatically have one of the pieces of the puzzle. A is 88. The next thing I would like to point out is that this mean distance could represent this distance here, half of the length of the major axis. And if we subtract that amount from the aphelion, we're going to be left with this amount here. And notice that this length from here to here is the distance from the center to the focus, which is the value of C. So subtracting 88 from 89.5 will give us the value of C. And I believe that's going to be 1.5. And don't forget, these measurements are in millions of miles. And then once I know A and C, remember I can get B from the Pythagorean relationship. So plugging into our Pythagorean relationship, we're going to have A squared, which is 88 squared, equals B squared, which is what I'm looking for, plus C squared, and then I'm going to need to subtract 1.5 squared from both sides, And to do that, we're going to use our handy dandy calculator. 88 squared minus 1.5 squared is, as a decimal, 7,741.75. And that is b squared, which is one of the components of the equation we're going to need. And next, the equation of the orbit of the planet, which is going to be the equation of the ellipse in standard form. So coming back to our scratch work, knowing that our major axis is horizontal indicates that we're going to be using this formula again, which will give us x minus h squared, and our h was centered at the origin, so that means h is 0, over a squared, which is 88 squared, plus y minus k, again this ellipse was centered at the origin, over b squared, which we had that to be 7,741.75, equals to 1. And then if we simplify, x minus 0 is just x squared over 88 squared, which is 7,744, plus y minus 0 is just y squared over 7,741.75, equals to 1. And remember, we only need to input the left-hand side. Let's go see how we did. And so inputting our answer, making sure that we follow the instructions, and it does say to use integers or decimals, so this should be appropriate as long as it's correct. And we're done. So if you have any questions or comments about anything covered in this video, please feel free to leave those in the comment section below, or you can text me. And thanks for watching.